One of the most important times of the year is the preseason. It's the tryout time. And I've seen so many young players, they don't actually know how to approach that time, how important it is to prepare for that. So, this video, this workshop is how do you separate yourself as a player in the preseason? If I'm thinking back to high school, a funny story is our preseason conditioning, I feel like left me having PTSD, man. It was so tough back in the day when I was doing preseason because we were always a top five high school basketball program. In fact, one of my years, we were ranked number one in the state and number 18 in the nation by USA Today. So we had a big high school, and we would always have a ton of people with hoop dreams that would come out. And our coach's goal was two things, if I look back and be honest. Number one, they were going to use this huge dream of playing for one of the top teams in the state of Kentucky and going for a state championship to bring out as many high schoolers as they could to help fundraise for that season. So before tryouts even began, we ran this massive fundraiser with everybody. You're talking like over 100 people fundraising for the team before tryouts even started. How they got away with that for all those years, I have no idea. But number two, the way they would weed people out is through preseason conditioning. And it was brutal. I mean, you had guys quitting on the track, quitting on the court, quitting on the football field. So this is how to separate yourself. Remember, your reputation precedes you. Your reputation in the preseason with your coaches starts now. Every year is a different year. Every season is a different season. Even if you're a returning player and you feel secure in your spot on the team, there's ways to move up in the rotation, become a starter, become the lead player or point guard. And if you obviously have new coaches or you're at a new school, this is going to be super important. So here's where we get into it. Let's start out. Number one is you want to create a plan and make sure you're in shape. One of the big things about the point guard transformation community is helping people create a PDP, a player development plan. So you want to move with intention and actually know what your gaps are. What specifically must you improve before your tryouts come? Is it as point guards handling pressure, finishing, your decision making defensively, your strength, your conditioning, whatever it is, you need to identify those things, write them down. Next is build out what I just said, a PDP, your player development plan. So you have clear goals, priorities, and then your targets for each week. I'm really big about building it out 4 weeks at a time. Right now, with the date that I'm in here in the state of Kentucky for middle school and high school players, there's about 8 weeks before official tryouts. So I would create 2 4 week blocks leading into that as the school starts for a lot of young players. Next is get into basketball shape. Basketball shape is different than running shape. Running is a part of that, but getting in basketball condition is a completely different thing because when you're not in shape, it affects your ability to perform skills, make good decisions, and your coaches are evaluating. If you want to separate yourself immediately going into preseason or tryouts, just get in the best shape you can. And the next one is to lead by example, especially point guards. Point guards can't ask their teammates to raise their standard when you aren't prepared. You got to show up ready to go. And the easiest controllable thing is being in shape. I wouldn't say the easiest, but it's something you can definitely prepare. As John Wooden says, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. Preparation creates confidence before your workouts even begin. Number two, build those relationships early with your coaches, with your teammates. So I want you to talk to your coaches. If this is a season where you're brand new, new coach, new team, new school year, whatever it is, introduce yourself. Ask how you can bring value to the team. What areas would you need to improve in if you're doing scrimmages or workouts? And just listen. Don't be that annoying player who clearly is, trying to ask the coach how to get more playing time or make the team, but just find ways that you see your coaches are looking for this or find value in that. Next is begin to know your teammates. As a point guard, develop that relationship. Learn where they like the ball, what motivates them, how you can help them become successful. It's an amazing thing that as you focus on other people, that comes right back to you, reaping and sowing, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Next, I want you to encourage people. Be that main encourager, man. That could be just bringing energy, clapping. But, trust really grows whenever your teammates know you got your back. I know it's competitive. I know you're trying to beat them out, but encourage them continuously, especially as a floor general, lead guard, or point guard. Next is communicate loud and clearly right now. Don't wait for tryouts to happen, the team to be set. Do it right now. Great point guards are not suddenly great leaders. They show that from the jump. Right away, you're setting the tone, and you're building those relationships. That's really the foundation of chemistry, trust, and leadership. Number 3 is bring the most energy. Energy is contagious, and so is selfishness. Be someone that brings energy and contributes to the culture or the environment. Your energy is your choice. Talk on defense, become the most vocal player. Coaches love it when you're talking on defense, and you're building your teammates up. In your sprints, in your preseason workouts, compete. Be the first in the drill. Bring urgency. Finish your reps strongs. Don't just cruise or coast, but actually be someone that brings people together. We call sheep or sheepdogs. Sheep wander off. They're lazy. Sheepdogs are like, hey, let's go, let's go. Pull people in. Don't push people out. Third is give flowers or celebrate your teammates, clap for them, encourage them, pick people up, help them finish, make winning plays, make people better, even if they aren't touching the ball. Also, staying engaged. Eyes on your coach, focus on your teammates, look them in the eye, ask good questions. Be the player that raises the temperature of the gym. It doesn't suck energy out of the gym. You don't have to be the best player to be the most valuable on the team and compete. Number 4, make sure your coaches remember your name. Let me pull this down. Make sure your coaches remember your name. How can they remember you if they don't even remember your name? That's why I say start with introducing yourself, talking to them, but become impossible to ignore. Give them all the right reasons to remember that, man, that kid, he hustles so much. Man, he makes winning plays. Man, he makes his teammates better. This is not about showing off, but stacking up great days, great drills, and gaining your coach's trust. You want to become the player that every coach trusts. Become the player that every coach trusts. And you do that by competing, by communicating, by out hustling people, by asking good questions, being coachable, showing up on time, and consistency. Your reputation is the sum of what you repeat. Finally, number 5, make your teammates better. If you reap, you sow what you reap. There is a reward for that. The floor generals ask themselves, not how can I just get better, but how can I make other people better? See what other players need. Help them become comfortable, communicate to them, encourage them, cover up their mistakes, man. Coaches see this more than you guys know. Next, I want you to sow into others, plant seeds into others, give energy, confidence, praise, effort. Serve them without needing immediate feedback or the credit. As a man sows, he reaps. Create a belief system. When teammates play better around you, coaches notice that. They bring glue because coaches are looking for this. Let me tell you a little secret. It's not about who is the 5 most talented players. A lot of times what they're looking for is what are the 5 players that have the best chemistry and come together. If you can be that type of player that is the glue and brings people together, that goes a long way. Okay. And what I just talked about, reaping and sowing. When you consistently give to the team, it has a way of coming back to you, earning trust, opportunity, and influence. When I'm in the gym for my academy, I'm going in for training tonight. I always tell people, hey, the most important person in the gym is not yourself, it's the person you're partnered with make them better. If you make them better, you guys are going to get better. Remember, the best point guards don't just produce results, they multiply and help their team. So in tryouts, in the preseason, you're not just trying to make the team, you're trying to lead the team. Be a leader. Become the player that your coach always trusts. That's so important. Become the player that your coach always trusts before the season even starts. So have a plan, build relationships with your coaches and also your teammates, bring great energy, and then stack those times of trust. We talked about sowing and reaping. As you give to other people, plant seeds into other people, that automatically comes back to you guys. So a preseason challenge is, what's one thing you can do differently this week in a drill, in a preseason workout, that will actually move the needle? Because the reason why I built the point guard transformation community is because I realized there's these certain things that hold players back. Like they work hard, but they don't know how to handle pressure in the game. That holds them back. They're working hard, they're working on their own, but they don't have a relationship with the coach. Or they're training hard in drills, but they don't trust themselves. They're in their head or they're a perfectionist. Therefore, how can the coach trust you? How do you become the player that a coach trusts? Find a way to continue to bring value. Everybody wants a bigger role on their team. Here's the secret of doing that. Dominate the role that you have, provide as much value as possible, and I promise you, the coach is going to want more. They're going to elevate you. I've actually seen this happen with players, teammates in the past, where they started out kind of low on the totem pole, or they weren't playing a lot, or they weren't starting. And because of the little things they did in providing value, they moved up. My senior year of college, I played a lot of the off guard, not just the point guard. And it's because I was leading the conference in scoring. So my coach was trying to find ways to get me off the ball, put me in scoring positions. We had a player that ended up moving into the starting point guard role. And the reason why is not because he was the best player, most talented. This kid wasn't even a great shooter. He really didn't score maybe a few points a game. He just had a great way of setting up all his teammates, and that brought him value. So he went from just being a random guy in the preseason on JV to not only starting JV, but he ended up starting on varsity. And that was a huge key. So if this helps you, you're trying to learn, how to become a player that a coach trusts, I encourage you guys to get into the point guard transformation community, my school community, weekly live calls, and really how to transform into a player like that.